good afternoon, or good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Geoff. We are so happy that you are here. If you're here in the recording, we appreciate you stopping in and checking us out. And then when you come on, and if you're here now, make sure you let us know where you are and who you are and how we can help you. And please, 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 as always, like you've been doing, show some love to our guests. And we've got another great one coming up here in a few minutes. So make sure you got your notepads out, your phone ready, and recording whatever you want, because you're not going to want to miss this episode. Right. So for those of you that aren't aware of the purpose of Conversations with Geoff, it kind of came around, and from my experiences in life and meeting other people and sharing and speaking in other situations where, you know what, how can we have a message? And let's focus the message around three key things. And well, communication being the beginning, but then it's around health, wealth, and relationships. And communication just kind of transcends all through those key things. And when we talk about health, we talk about emotional, mental, spiritual, physical health, and all those things, and wealth, legacy building, your career, your business, whatever those things are, community development, and then relationships, right? Oh boy, I don't know about you, but I know for me, relationships was something I was terrible at early on in my life, and through listening and learning and gathering around other folks, I was able to understand the power of how I see myself and what I say to myself, right? Oh man, that conversation you're having with yourself about yourself. How many of you out there today, when you hear this, you started out the day with a message that said, hey, I got this. This is May 2nd. Man, I'm going to kill it today. Come on, world, bring it on. Or did you wake up like holding your head from all the noise that was running around your head the night before? Or you're thinking about all the things you have to try and get done today, or you're worrying about what you did last year. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's stinkin thinking. My wife doesn't like when I say that. It's stinkin thinking because it sticks on your shoes, man. It doesn't ever go away unless you become aware of it and take some habits to change how you're doing it, right? Man. So our goal is, with your help and the help of the speakers, and they're doing a tremendous job. It's real simple. It's to impact 1 million lives through our messaging around the conversation they're having with themselves, about themselves, and how they can change themselves and then change their life and change their family, right? Ooh, hey, listen, we won't be here long, but I would just, man, are you like me? It's already May 2nd. Time is flying, right? I was standing in the kitchen this morning thinking about it, man, and then I had this flashback where our first grandchild was standing in the hospital. She was born in Texas, somewhere in Atlanta or somewhere, right? I get all confused. And I was standing there holding her in my hands, man. She'll be 13 this month. And her siblings, Major aside, he'll be 5. And then McKenna, Mays, oh man, I got 3 of them, baby, all M's, all in May. Ooh, I could talk about it forever. But anyway, man, the time is flying. So I tell you this, please, please, please make sure that you sit down with us. You know, we respect your time. We know how important it is. But I know that the message that you're going to hear today, like all the other ones have been, is going to help you change the way you see yourself, change how you talk to yourself, and then change how you behave, right? And let me just share this one story. Think about this too. My mentor, he tells this story all the time, and I love it. Right, so here we are. We're farmers, right, and we're you know, farmers get up early, right? So that rooster wakes you up, going out and getting in the tractor. So he goes out in his barn. He goes, gets the hay from the barn, loads it up in the tractor, and he goes a mile out to the field and drops it off. He does this every day, year after year, right? So you know what happens. That tractor can run automatic on cruise, doing the same thing every day, getting the same results, right? What's that sound like for those of us going to work every day? Just getting up, mindless, shower, brush your teeth, hopefully, get in the car, drive to work, day after day after day. So think about if you're like that farmer, and if you just change your direction 1 inch a day, over 30 days, 1 mile out, just see how far away from where you are today you'll be. Real simple, right? I mean, think about what you do each and every day and try to start doing some things differently before you go to bed, when you get up, and throughout the day. I challenge you. How many times do you say I can? How many times do you say I will? How many times will you say I must versus the other things? So anyhow, look, let me get to our guest. I always got to go down that road because it's so important you hear what I'm talking to you about. But my friend, boy, just a really quick bio. She's a walking, talking, living, breathing, healing by the grace of God miracle. She's been through some things. Breaking free from perpetual fight or flight trauma has led her to healing her spiritual injuries from reality of positive thoughts, peaceful spirit, and genuine relationships. She spends her emotional energy feeling and performing actions that allow her to set healthy boundaries and embrace personal freedom for herself and others. Now that she's been given the gift of perpetual hope, she lives in a peaceful state of harmony with self, spirit, and others. Her journey and learned experiences have uniquely qualified her to assist you in your healthy healing journey. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you to meet my friend today, Miss Benita. Yeah. Let me see. Coach B. Von. You just
That's me.
Coach B, what's happening?
Hey there. How are you, Geoff? Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I am Coach B. Von. You got that right. Really happy to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here because I know you're busy. You just had a big weekend and all that stuff, and you took the time out to still come and show up with us. So we really appreciate you here. You look fabulous, by the way.
So, well, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. I think it's really important that we project how we feel on the inside towards the outside. So what you see right here is how I feel on the inside.
So what you see is what you get is what I hear you saying.
Absolutely.
I love that. So yeah, this, as always, we kind of get right to the juice of what's going on here. And
Sure.
So, I know you don't have much time to talk about it, but the weekend that you just shared, can you highlight, maybe give a little background on what it was? And I think you had some things going on there, maybe a book signing in there too. Talk just a moment about that. And then
Absolutely. Here locally in Roanoke, Virginia, they had the 3rd annual Health and Healing Expo for the Roanoke Valley. And I didn't find out about it until the last day to sign up. And it's by word of mouth that I even heard about it. And so I was sent an email that said, hey, if you can get your payment in today, if you can get me all your details today, we can go ahead and get you secured for this event. And I thought, okay, time to get to action. And so I got all the information out to them. They enrolled me. I was there on Saturday from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. Now, of course, it looked like I was there to sell books because I wrote a book, and that's exactly what I told them I would be bringing is my wonderful book,
yes.
The Energy Harvest. Hey, this is a shameless plug. This is my book, The Energy Harvest, a spiritual model for the enhancement of your life. You can find it on Amazon. But
Love it.
What was most important for me, Geoff, was to engage with the people. Yeah. It wasn't about selling the book. No, It was about engaging with the people to let them see what is possible. Yeah. Like you said, I'm a walking, talking, breathing, healing by the grace of God miracle. My life hasn't always been what you see today. And in the book that I wrote, it goes on talking about the trauma. And so as we heal collectively, right, we can then help each other. And that's exactly what happened on Saturday. A lady came to my booth and I just knew, because I'm intuitive, right? I have the spirit of God that lives inside me. And so there's compassion in here. There's empathy. I am an empath. So I could feel her need for a hug. And I said, sweetie, can I hug you? Do you mind if I give you a hug? And she came towards me. See, she didn't know what she was in for because I'm a pretty good hugger. She didn't know what she's about to get, but I knew what I was about to give her. You know,
bear hug, baby.
I gave her the bear hug. I hugged her with my heart, not my hands. I hugged her with my spirit, not my flesh. I hugged that woman, and I don't mean patting her on the back like some people do, and or those loose arms that just kind of hang around somebody. This was a feeling hug, saying, I feel you. I know you're in distress. This is a hug. Who knew when she got her last hug? I don't know. But she said, oh, that's nice. And then I felt her just kind of melting in my arms. You know what I mean? And then when we came apart from each other, I saw the tears running down her face. Wow. And I knew then it wasn't about the books. It was about my connection, my humanity, my ability to connect to the individual on an intimate level. Even though it wasn't an intimate setting, we had an intimate moment.
Yeah, and I'm feeling that sensation just from hearing you share.
Yes.
I know about the power of the hug, and
yes,
and I know that's a gift that you have, and you've always shared that with me. So wow, that's a beautiful story. So you do that, and like, all right, I'm here now. And
guess what happened, Geoff? Let me tell you about this. And so the way the Creator organizes things, you just can't not make it up.
Yeah.
So I got there on the very last day, right? Yeah. And I was neighbored by a different vendor, and immediately she purchased my book. As she was thumbing through the book, she says, "I would like to sell your book to my clients."
Wow.
Can we partner?
Wow.
Wow is right. Wow is right. So there was a double blessing in the whole day for me. I had no idea what was in store, but I'm so glad that I did the footwork, got it all in, and was able to attend that event. And it was just overall just a spectacular event, seeing everyone, feeling everyone, and then having that wonderful blessing at the end. So
Well, didn't also something else happen, or a connection was made? I thought when you shared with me about someone that knew someone else, part of the affiliate group, or was it a different situation?
No, it was this situation. Yeah. I went for my photo shoot.
Yeah.
And I went for my photo shoot a couple of weeks ago because I had the Universal Healing event. And so I went to get the photo shoot, and they said, "You look so pretty and you look so nice. Why don't you take yourself out for dinner?" And I thought, you know what? I will do just that. And so when I went out, and of course, I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? It's a great day. And I go walking in, my energy is off the chain, and people are recognizing me and talking to me. And it was just wonderful. And so as we're there interacting with each other, one man and woman are telling me about the Health and Healing Expo. And I thought, wow, that sounds pretty exciting. And so when I went to meet back with my team on the following Tuesday, I said, "Hey, somebody was talking about the Healing Expo." And then the photographer, my team, says, "Oh, yeah, we used to be part of that. We know them personally. Why don't I make a phone call?" And so he made a phone call, and within minutes, I had a text in my inbox saying, "Hey, if you can get this information to us, we'll go ahead and get you in." So yes, none of this was anything that I knew about prior to the suggestion from my team to go out to dinner. And instead of coming home, I took the suggestion. I followed orders. I went to where they said, because I know that the universe operates in mysterious ways. Yes. And so if there is a suggestion for me, I need to consider that suggestion, because I don't know what's on the other side of that suggestion. And so that's how it worked. It was wonderful the way it worked.
Yeah, that's just great. So you folks that are hearing this now are hearing the recording, man. Listen to what she's saying about being present, showing up, and life hasn't always been that way, right? For you, there was a time when it was so far away from that. Right?
Absolutely. I had to heal to get to this point. And my healing journey has spanned over at least 20 years. Healing doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And healing, it was not an easy path. And what I mean by that is I believe that we are multidimensional spiritual beings, and we have, the spirit, the mind, and the soul. And what has happened in my perspective is that so many of us have learned to operate at our fullest potential mentally, right? But that only heals one part of us. It only allows that one part to move forward. But while that one part of us is moving forward, the spiritual and the emotional part is left behind without the healing. And so it's like you're still handicapped.
Yeah.
You are still handicapped, severely handicapped, but because the mind is so tricksy and it can tell you you're okay when you're really not, it can trick you into believing that you're in a different state than you actually are. And so what I came to find out is I had to piecemeal it together. I went to Dr. Deepak Chopra for the spiritual side of me.
Yeah.
I went to John Maxwell for, you know, the mental part of me. And
Yeah.
I just, and Mel Robbins for,
Yeah.
you know, I went to all these different people to get what I needed.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, what if we could bring it all together and allow people to heal across the board
Yes.
as the multidimensional beings that we are?
Yes.
And that's where the idea for the book came in, because it's a workbook. It's a workbook, a 4-phase structured workbook that allows you to navigate your difficult thoughts, your difficult feelings, and help you not roll into those destructive behaviors. See? And so the book, the way that it is written, is straight from my heart. It's straight from my own process. I actually went into the book one way, and after writing it, I came out of it totally healed on the end. And so I know that it works. I know that it is anointed, and I can't wait for people who haven't had an opportunity to experience this book to experience it. And I don't mean to be plugging it. It's just that's where I am, and that's where my thought process was.
Well, but you know, this is what the show is all about, Coach B, is to really kind of get things in people's hands that they can use, right? And I know you, so I know when you talk about sharing your life's journey through that book and healing through there, I know that there's some power in there for I'm going to get it, right? And do the exercise and do the work, because it's clearly, you know, you're evidence of the evidence. You know.
Yes, I always say I am the product. I am the product.
You are, and we all are, right? I mean, a product's either going to be self-destructive or wandering, or you know, it's going to have some direction in there and do that. So you work with some really powerful folks. And Mel Robbins, I mean, she's just amazing. Chakra and Maxwell. So you know, for folks that may just not know where to start, and what was it that you can share in your life when you really knew you needed it? Because asking for help is not easy, right?
No.
It's not. How could those of us that I don't need any help or scared to ask for help, how can we help us out in that space?
Okay, so for me, I had to first come to the conclusion that I was living a life that I didn't want to live. I had to be able to identify. I had no relationships in my life. Something is wrong, and I knew something was wrong, and I cried out. You know, I cried out to God one lonely night, and I said, God, please don't let this destruction be my life. Please don't let this be my life. And the way I cried out to him, I had cried out before, you know, oh God, get me out of this relationship. He's a nut. Oh God, I'll never do it again if you just get me out of this one. I'm in a jam, God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those foxhole prayers. Yeah.
Exactly. I have a lot of those foxhole prayers under my belt. But this prayer was a cry of desperation. This prayer was a cry. God, please don't let this be my life. And so I began to see events and situations and circumstances start happening in my life that would lead me toward the end of this era, the end of this destructive cycle.
Yeah.
And so the people through the county that I lived in, the people that I became aware of could see the desperation. They knew what I needed, even when I didn't know what I needed.
Yeah.
And so they said, okay, we want you to go to a recovery program and get your life together. We're going to give you this opportunity. Here are some numbers. Here's some locations. Now go. And so I started a 12-step modality, and that is part of the foundation for my healing.
Yeah.
You know, it started in church, obviously, because I grew up in the church, got baptized, the whole 9 yards. But
Right.
I didn't believe that the church was equipped to handle my emotional and mental situations.
Yeah.
And so I went for years trying to find a solution, didn't believe there was a solution, didn't know if my life would ever change, but I knew I wanted more, but just didn't know how to get it. And so it started out with that prayer to God, and it ended up in a 12-step modality where I learned that systematically it's my thinking that leads to my feeling, that leads to my behavior, which leads to my habits, patterns, and practices that lead me to where I want to go or don't want to go. And so I had to say to myself, Benita, what are you willing to do for your life? And I said, I need some education. If I plan to stand on my own 2 feet and have the freedom to live my own life, I need to first get some education.
Yeah.
And so I started immediately, got that associate's degree, you know, fell into a tumultuous relationship that got me off of my path, you know, got a therapist, had a therapist for 8 years, you know, in and out, seeing my therapist for 8 years because I needed some help. I needed professionals. See, I could not fix my own problem with the thinking that got me into the situation. So I had to renew my mind with some new information, and I had to have a therapist to help me do that. And there is no shame in having a therapist. There's no shame in seeking help for your situation. We all have situations, and sadly enough, people feel shame. They feel they feel as if they don't deserve to be better. This is how I used to feel. And so anyway, you know, long story short, here we are 20 years later. You know, 20 years later, I have this wonderful, thriving life. But was it easy? No, it was difficult as HELL. I don't know if I can say that on here or not. But what I'm saying is it was so difficult. Sorry, this thing won't act right. Anyway, it was so difficult, but I was able to find out who God made me. I was able to develop my courage. I was able to develop my perseverance. I was able to develop my faith and trust. I was able to look at myself differently. For the first time in my life. Are you kidding me? You know? Wow.
Looking in the mirror now and seeing that person that was locked inside of you and going through all those things. And man, you said so many things. I was going to interrupt you, but you just were flowing so beautifully.
I apologize.
No. I wanted to go back and have you hang on some more to what you said.
Sure.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story around all those things. And now from what I hear you tell me is that information and those experiences are all in the book.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those of us out there that have been in situations and had those feelings about habits and patterns and practices, old habits, patterns and practices, and we need new ones and renewing your mind. I mean, just amazing information, Coach B. And I just, wow. You know, I'm so glad you're willing to share this stuff. It's really, really helpful.
Absolutely.
It really is important for our audience to know that you had a turning point in your life. You remember that. I can see you now in that prayer, and then things changed from there. And so there's power in prayer, and if you don't, whatever you believe, there's energy in the world that will respond to whatever you're giving out. This is what
yes.
So you're doing this now. You're living the life. I had something I wanted to ask though, and I wrote it down. I don't know if I'll find it, but it was something you said. Making a conscious effort to self-love. You know, and you said that. At the end of your comments, you just shared about loving yourself.
Absolutely. It's so important. It's so important because, see, there's a little child down in there that was broken, that hid herself from me because she couldn't trust me to take care of her.
Yes.
You know? And so now I know my self-worth and I know my self-esteem is at a healthy level, but it hasn't always been. Because I turned on the little bee inside me, right? I turned on her and began to treat her the way I was being treated. And so my self-esteem was so low.
Yeah.
And that was the vantage point that I was seeing life through, seeing myself through. I'm no good. I'm never going to be any good. I might as well stop now while before I ruin my life trying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Some of the most outrageous things I would say to myself, but it's all as a conditioning of the trauma responses.
Yeah.
See, these are trauma responses to me being broken spiritually, right? Me being broken spiritually and morally. And so and especially the moral one. And see, what through my research, what I've come to understand is that the spiritual injury are those things that people do to us to make us feel bad, right?
Yes.
And so that's what the mind is trying to reconcile, Why would daddy be so mean to me? Why would he say those things to me? Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not understanding, not being able to make any sense out of it. I made up something that I told myself. Right. As to why, you know, and so, you know, as I moved on, you know, I had to see that no matter how someone else sees me, that's not what's important. Through my healing, right? Healing these spiritual wounds, and then now healing the moral wounds. And the moral wounds are those things that I have done to others that I can't seem to forgive myself for. See? So I had to start with forgiveness. I had to start with forgiving myself for the things that I had done to me. I wrote a letter and everything to my little girl. You know, I wrote a letter to her. And so in this Energy Harvest workbook, okay, I'm going to tell you, in the beginning, there's a section called Identify. We have to first identify the spiritual or the moral injury before we can actually address it. We have to identify it. And so the workbook asks all kinds of wonderful questions to help you, you know, to be able to identify where your injuries are. And so then as you move through, then you have to see what power and what tools do I have available to me to utilize to help me heal. And so that's the set portion of the process. And then once you get set with your visualization exercises and your imagination exercises and your you know meditation exercises and all of this, you develop a spiritual practice, right? And so that's what was so important to me, was to develop a spiritual practice, Geoff, because I believe that the spiritual part of us is left unhealed and left unevolved. And so it's so important, you know, to connect to our source, you know, and I do that through meditation, which is the best way, is the best for me, is the best way, because it's like you connect through prayer and then he connects back through meditation. And so this has been my practice. And so then once you get these practices under your belt, now it's time to achieve some successes in your healing and in some of the other goals that you have. And the achieve section of the workbook asks you all kinds of questions. What would your life look like if you didn't have to worry about money? What would your life look like if you could dream any life that you wanted? And so we start talking now about manifesting and bringing those things back, you know, sending out the right energy, right frequencies, so that it all comes back to us, right? Then it's all about sustaining. Now it's about sustaining, because if you don't have a workbook such as this, your mind might tell you you're not getting any better. You might as well throw that thing away. You're not getting any better, right? Stop trying. But through the workbook, you can track your progress. So you have the evidence that you are making progress.
Yes.
And then through sustaining it all is where you go now and join with like-minded people so that you can, continue to renew your mind with new information, continue to give what you have so that you can receive it back. It's just like a reciprocal relationship now with the universe, yourself, and others. So that's it in a whole nutshell.
Wow, that's beautiful, Coach B. And I'm thinking, plus, now this is just where my brain thinks. You get all that, and then I'm sure they have access to you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then a community that they can become a part of. So there was just so many things in there, and identify issues. It's kind of like the same thing we talk about with conversations with Geoff about being aware of, becoming aware of, identifying, and then having some acceptance, and then the word surrender came out too. It's kind of as we wind up this session. It's been fantastic. We'll have to really kind of maybe get a section and maybe think of something that I'm putting out there for you to think about, where we could do like a little series of something in your book or something. But anyway, I think it would be great to share that. So what about as we wind down? Surrender is another part of your journey, and acceptance, and then surrender and loving self. What can you tell the folks out there that are hearing this but they just want to hold on and not let go of this crazy situation they're in because they don't know how? So they're holding on and letting go of claw marks. What can you share about that as we wind it up?
Okay. Because we are multidimensional spiritual beings and we have a mind, a body, and a soul, in order to leave a relationship that is not meeting your needs, all of those components have to be aligned. You can't want it in your mind and not be willing in your emotions. Because you won't get out of that situation. As a matter of fact, I just had something like that happen to me last week, Geoff. It's so wild that you say this, because I had a relationship that I thought I knew what it was supposed to be, and it served its purpose, but it was past the expiration date. Being in this relationship did not allow me to reach the height of my self-esteem. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was a third-party relationship. I'm not ashamed to say that. You know what I mean?
I understand.
And so this past 2 weeks, I became seriously aware that God is trying to move me out of here. Yeah. He's been trying to move me out of here for a while, but I wouldn't let go. I wouldn't let go because I didn't feel like I could let go. Yeah. Even though I'm doing all this wonderful stuff, I'm writing books, I'm sharing with, you know what I'm saying? But the human part of me, I wasn't willing to work on that yet. I have to have the willingness, see? Yeah. Because I could not see my life outside of this relationship, because my mind kept telling me everything's okay, don't worry about it. But my spirit was vexed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sitting at home at night, by myself, wishing and wondering and all of those kinds of things. And then this past 2 weeks, something happened, and I was like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready. And so what he showed me is he showed me this energy. It's like a shooting star, like the shooting star just, they don't happen very often, and they happen very quickly. And if you blink your eye, you're going to miss it. Right? Miss it. Yeah. So this is the most incredible thing. So what God was showing me, this energy came through my life like a shooting star, picked me up out of that situation and moved me out. Wow. Moved me out energetically, took me and moved me out of that situation. My spirit was ready. My emotions was ready. My mind wasn't ready, but it had to get on board once my spirit said, let's go. Yeah. So I have been able to get out of that. But see, God had came so many other times to swoop me out, but I was not aligned and I was not able to. So I had to stay in that situation longer than I wanted to for another surrender to happen so that I could be ready for this next move to get out of there. And so it was a process, but it happened like a twinkling of an eye. I was moved out of that situation. And as of today, I don't even long for that. As of today, I know even after that, I had to put some things in practice because, see, it's still about me. It's still about me not picking up that phone, not answering that text, not picking up that phone, not answering that text. God, please help me, and just relieving myself of that burden of having to lose myself in a relationship. And so, wow, it was just so powerful. So you can't tell me that the universe does not work on our behalf, and that when you give yourself, to the aid of the God of your understanding, he will protect you. He will do all the things that you don't have the power to do in your life, like change your paradigm. See, we don't have the power to do that, but the source has the power to do that. So that's what I'd like to leave with people who are stuck in situations that they don't want to be in, relationships, whatever. You have to be aligned. All of you needs to be ready to get out of there.
Wow. That's woo. Man, thank you for being humble enough to share that. And I could see when you did the swoosh, you are moved. You're not going back, and you're going to have little things that come up, but you're not going to go back.
No.
I see that. I connect that with you. And I'm way over here in Texas, So, oh boy. So tell me, how do people get a hold of you as we, get out of here?
Okay, sure. For one-on-one coaching, you can reach me, or for any of your coaching needs, you can reach me at spiritsourceconnection.com. Okay, that's spiritsourceconnection.com. That's our website. We have all kinds of freebies there for you, blogs for you to read, all about self-esteem, motivation, intuition, all kinds of wonderful blogs and information for you there. And you can reach me on my cell phone if you'd like. That's 317-721-4315. And if you would like to purchase the book, The Energy Harvest, A Spiritual Model for the Enhancement of Your Life, you can do that on the website, and you can also purchase on Amazon in the electronic form if you'd rather have that as well. Thank you so much.
Wow. And then I want to make sure too, you mentioned freebies, but before we went live, you mentioned a personal development plan. So if you go on site, make sure you look up that one. It's a personal development plan that she suggested prior to our show. So Coach B, hugs to you, my friend.
Hugs. Thank you so much. This was my first time ever doing this, and I had fun. I hope you bring me back. I hope I was a good girl.
Yes, you were, and you were exactly what we needed today. And again, I will take you up on bringing you back. I got some ideas we want to talk about. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Benita, keep being you, keep being beautiful, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, woo, man. Oh boy, that was just amazing. I mean, and we talked earlier about our purpose in and around relationships, and you can see the gift of the relationship that she has with herself, and talked about the work that she did to get there, right? And it wasn't easy. It took 20 years. She kept referencing 20 years. So give yourself a break if you're still in that space, but you're working on it. Give yourself a break if you feel like, oh man, I can't take another day. Give yourself a break if you're just getting started and you're thinking about going back. Don't do it, right? So as I wrap this thing up, I always got to give you a little homework, and I'm gonna leave you with a couple of words. But actually, she talked about how healing doesn't happen overnight. You got to connect the spirit, the mind, and the soul. And if you don't have all the pieces together yet, still cut yourself a break and know that you will, and continue to move forward. If you're in bad situations, continue to move forward. Renew your mind with new information. And that's our goal today. And she dropped a bunch. I mean, you guys know I'm taking notes, and I'm learning each and every time we bring a guest on here. So I just want you to, as we close this thing up, think about 4 things: your thoughts, your words, your emotions, and your actions. Your thoughts, your words, your emotions, and your actions. I got to add one more, and then the behavior piece. And she talked about the behavior in it, and she's got some nuggets in it. So go get that book, right? And then she dropped her phone number in there. Boy, you better call her up, hey, because she's serious about what she was intended to do, which is help you get free from wherever you are, right? So, and for those of you that enjoy podcasts, we just have, I've been informed that we have the People's Perform podcast. You can see this format on the podcast now. And then we're also interviewing folks that we've been asked about sponsorship, so that you have something that you feel like you can share in this community that would benefit the community. If you're out there listening and you know somebody, please have them reach out to me. And if you need my information is in the chat. I strongly encourage you to connect with us. If you got questions that we're not getting to, you have some thoughts that we need to talk about, please reach out to me. We're going to begin to form a community around this whole mission, and we can't do it without you. So anyway, appreciate everybody's time today. Really make sure you subscribe, put the bell out there for notifications, and go back and check out this session. My pen's almost out of ink, so there's so much that you can get out of this one. So to you and everyone out here today, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next episode. And remember, stop that stinking thinking, baby. Change your life, change your thoughts, change your world. All right, see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.